why everybody mad at us? It seemed like everybody is mad at Black Americans right now. Just go to my comment section and read. Like, everybody's pissed off at us for one reason or another, which is crazy, right? For once in American history, Black people are not the butt of every joke, right? For once in American history, Black people aren't the primary target of something, and everybody is pissed off. So fellow Black people, fellow foundational Black Americans, bask in this glory and live it up. Because yes, for once in American history, we are not the primary target of everything. Every joke, every situation, everything. We always the primary target, except for right now, and we gotta live it up and bask in this beautiful glory.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Thank you so much for clicking on this episode. I really do appreciate your love and support on this channel. So we've seen videos of so many people actually angry at Black Americans because this time round Black Americans protested and marched during the November 5th election when they went there to cast their vote. And now that Black Americans have refused to be used as the scapegoats of what's happening with the mass deportation and everything that's happening in the United States of America, everyone is calling them out and angry at them. Just simply because Black Americans are telling you, we marched on November 5th, and they already promised that no matter how things turn out, they are not going to put their bodies on the line. They're not going out there to be protesting because police brutality has been facing them. They're always targeted when they're protesting. And people want Black Americans to come out here and support what's happening with the mass deportation and how illegal immigrants are treated in the United States of America, as if this fight belongs to Black Americans. But we all know that this fight has nothing to do with Black Americans. What do you expect Black Americans to come out there and do for you if you're being deported, if you're being treated the way you're being treated by the new administration? Black Americans are not the ones that are in the office. They are not the ones that are in this administration. They are not the ones that are sending ICE agents out there to detain your people. In a matter of fact, in a place like Miami-Dade County, the Hispanic community are using their own police department to hold and detain their own people. You know, people always look down on Black people, not only from the Hispanic community, but even some people that come from the African descent. You've heard them. You've seen videos of where people are like, I was warned by my mom when we moved to the state not to associate myself with Black Americans. Or in cases where you hear some of the Africans in the United States of America saying that Black Americans are lazy simply because they don't want to work a 9-to-5 job, simply because they don't want to work in these jobs that are paying them peanuts, because they know what they are worth. Over 250 years, Black Americans were working for free, no compensation. Till today, they've never been compensated. And now you want Black Americans to be out here fighting for you guys, while they all want you not to go on ahead and vote against your own self-best interest. As a matter of fact, this fight belongs to you, not Black Americans. I want us to watch these videos together, guys, that I've gathered. Every clip and every stitch that you'll be seeing on our today's episode, credits belongs to the original creators of these videos that you see on your screens. So let's just dive right ahead, and I would really love to know what your thoughts are on the comments section. So let's watch and we'll come back with more.
What up, Nurse Gang? What up, TikTok? So this needs to be said. Just want to come through the quick word really quick. Now, disclaimer. If you don't like what a creator is posting on their platform, unfollow. You know, but you guys have this, you want to argue with people and go back and forth with them on their page. It's insanity to me because I just block you. I learned how to protect my peace a long time ago. I'm not going back and forth with nobody on my own page. You can go to your own page and talk about whatever you like. It's free for all of us. So that's there. But so I posted the video of, you know, the immigration thing that happened today. And I guess me saying that nurses should not try to obstruct justice and end up getting arrested trying to interfere with ICE, a process that you cannot stop. The government has decided. They got 179 billion to deport people. This is a process you can't stop, and you should not interfere. And 5 seconds of interfering, they still arrest the person. You get arrested as well. Your career and life is ruined for what? A process you couldn't stop. So people are upset about that. But whatever. People want to be outraged about immigration because it's a moment in time and this was being shoved down their throat on social media. But people had the audacity to come to my Instagram and say, oh, but when it was Black Lives Matter, you guys wanted us to stand with you. I'm going to need y'all to stop using that, because I'm going to tell you something right now. Black people are the most oppressed people in this country, and we have been for years. This fear that the immigrants are living in of going outside. Imagine being a Black woman in America and what comes across your screen, thousands of Black women missing and no one's investigating it. Imagine being a Black woman in America and you wake up in the middle of the night and across the screen is Breonna Taylor's face. She got shot in her sleep, right? And the cops dilly-dally and get off. Oh, Sandra Bland choked to death in her jail cell, right? Seeing things like Trayvon Martin and you're scared, young man shot in his back just for being Black, killed. And you have a Black son in America constantly in fear from being a small little girl in America, sitting in class, watching stuff like Roots, being traumatized from young, watching how we were enslaved, then watching, civil rights movement actions. Listen, no one lives in fear. When this fear you guys have is ours every day. Fear that your son is going to be driving and get pulled over by the cops and get killed. You know what I mean? Or as even a woman, that you're going to get shot, you're going to get kidnapped, and no one's going to talk about it. They say, oh, they're kidnapping people. Yeah, there's plenty of Black women who are out there who are missing, kidnapped. No one cares. So we have been in fear and traumatized since the beginning of time. Oh, they're enslaving them. What about Juneteenth? What about they have people down there in Galveston, Texas, still slaves when they have been free for a very long time? Like, we're the most oppressed. And then let's not get into what goes on in nursing. We're oppressed. Got to get doctorates just to get mid-level jobs. Got to be overachievers, constantly harassed. Like, it's everywhere. It's in the education. Systemic racism is in everywhere. It's the banks. It's the constantly. And who is that directed towards? Immigrants or Blacks? So you guys always want Black people to be so outraged by everything when this is the fear. We live this every day. We live this every day. So don't ever fix your mouth. Just because you guys, like I said, what you see on social media, the George Floyd thing made big headlines, but this has been happening to plenty of Black men. This is something that Black people live in fear of every day. All different entities, all different types of discrimination. And you guys are seeing a small glimpse of what's happening to immigrants. And I ain't saying it's right. And I'm not saying they should be doing it. And I'm saying, they're putting them in prison wrongfully. How many Black men have been wrongfully in prison? They do 30 years of their life, and then they find out they shouldn't have been in there. This is something that we've been living. Do you guys understand that? You're outraged because you're seeing clips on social media now, what's going on with immigrants. But this is something that we live. And y'all have the nerve to fix your face and say, Black people should be, when we were standing up for you guys for Black Lives Matter. You haven't went through what we went through in this country. You didn't have water holes that sprayed on you because you just were trying to sit in a diner and eat. So please don't ever disrespect me by coming to my page, ever comparing what the Black American experience is like compared to anyone else in this country. And I stand on that. And if you don't like it and you don't want to hear it, you can get off my page because I stand on that. Please don't try to put us in that box. We are the most oppressed people in this country, and we have been more than any population. That's it.
So I've talked about how foreign people of color are jealous of the perceived privileges that Black American people have. And based on the feedback in my comments from Black American people, I would like to add some key details to that discussion. The biggest takeaway that I observed from the feedback in that video from Black American people is that foreign people of color absolutely refuse to accept and acknowledge the price that Black people had to pay to have these liberties and privileges. And it's a price that Black American people still pay today. It's a price that was paid in blood, bones, backs, muscles, joints, autonomy, freedom, etc. See, what I've observed being a foreigner myself and being raised in a foreign family, what I've observed is that foreigners are in this like silent one-way competition with Black American people as to who is oppressed more. And it's very much like oppression Olympics. Yeah, well, you have that stuff going on in your country. In my country, we have XYZ. In my country, our politicians are all corrupt. In my country, we have famines. In my country, etc., etc. It's like this routine dismissal of the price that Black Americans have to pay to be American. As so many of the commenters in that video pointed out, being Black in America has not been a cakewalk, for lack of a better phrase. It hasn't been something easy. And something else that Black American people also pointed out is that foreigners can choose to migrate to America and move to America because foreign people of color, we have autonomy. We have agency in being able to choose where we live and where we call home. For Black American people, historically, that choice was robbed from them. It was deprived from them because imperial powers traveled to the continent of Africa, kidnapped African individuals by violence and by force, trafficked them to the Americas, and then forced them into chattel slavery for hundreds of years. Like, we cannot underestimate the centuries that Black American people spent as enslaved property in the eyes of the law. Then after that chattel slavery was over, Black Americans then had to spend a subsequent, 2 centuries under Jim Crow and segregation laws still being viewed as inhumane property. Can we please remember that Black American people did not have the right to vote in elections until the 1960s? 1964 specifically. My mother was born in 1966, just for reference, and I'm a 31-year-old millennial. Thank you to all of the commenters who provided that feedback in that video, and please forgive me, the only reason I didn't include these important pieces in my discussion was just for time constraints. But yeah, foreign people of color are envious of Black Americans and absolutely, by the same token, refuse to acknowledge the price that Black Americans have had to pay to live in America, and it's a price that they still have to pay. And also refuse to acknowledge that yes, although we come to America and experience xenophobia, we had agency and we had autonomy and the power of choice in coming to America. That was a privilege that was ultimately deprived from Black Americans. If it were up to Black Americans, they would not have come to America. Again, they were kidnapped by violent imperial powers and then forced into centuries of chattel slavery by force, by violence. All agency, all autonomy, all choice was removed from them. So of course, Black Americans are going to watch foreign people of color come here and get to live in post-Jim Crow, post-segregation America, post-chattel slavery America, and then get to claim, oh yeah, America is this great land of milk and honey, has all these wonderful opportunities that I don't have in my home country. And Black Americans, they don't take advantage of those opportunities. Because let's keep it real, with the existing anti-Blackness that, pervades every society on the planet, foreign people of color thus come to America and view Black Americans as lazy and thuggish for not taking advantage of all the opportunities that exist in America. Well, yeah, we can come to America and immigrate to America in the 90s and the early 2000s and say, yeah, there are opportunities, because we weren't subject to the centuries of oppression that Black Americans were subject to. Yes, our ancestors in our home countries were subject to it, but our ancestors didn't do anything about that oppression, which is why we had to leave our home countries. Black Americans here in America did, and that's why we have freedoms, because of Black Americans. And that's why you see so many foreign people of color feel perfectly comfortable fixing their lips and talking down on Black Americans, because I don't know if the psychology of it, like I've talked to my own family about this, like, is it that you view yourself as white? Is it that you view yourself as, now that you're American, you can oppress someone else, and whom you choose to oppress is Black people? Because as I've observed, foreign people of color never have this energy for the actual white systemic structures and institutions that actually oppress all of us. Foreign people of color, like I've said before, also envy the fact that Black Americans protest and boycott and speak up and fight and advocate in ways that foreign people of color don't do in our own home countries, and then come here and have the audacity to speak out the side of their necks towards Black Americans as if, like, what, you think you're white in this structure? You think you're white in this system? Because I can assure you, we're not. So if you are a foreign person of color living in America who emigrated here, or you're the children or grandchildren of immigrants, please understand and accept quickly that the only reason we were able to have the agency or the autonomy to even migrate to America in the first place is solely because of the work of Black Americans. And Black Americans living in America are American in name only. I can assure you the privileges and the liberties that we wax poetic about do not exist for most Black Americans and have not existed for Black Americans for centuries.
When I look at mostly what is happening, especially with the mass deportation, it's quite a sad thing to see. It's sad seeing people being taken away from their schools, from their jobs, hospital, churches, immigration offices, people traveling outside America, those who even hold green card and are there legally not being allowed back in the country, families being separated, kids being separated from their parents, because you've seen in cases where some parents have been deported or are being detained at ICE detention centers. You know, the latest detention center that was flooding, as we saw, and the conditions that people are going to be living there in those conditions. One thing I know is that this is not happening because of the Black Americans. Whatever is happening in the United States of America, especially with the mass deportation, it's not Black Americans' fault. We all know that, but it's quite sad that we seeing people out here creating videos and calling out Black Americans. And Black Americans are just simply telling people, we all warned you. We told you what was gonna happen, but none of you listened to us. 92% of Black Americans voted Democrat. 82% of Black American men voted Democrat. And you coming out here creating videos and commenting on how you all helped Black Americans and how they should be out there protesting for you and how they should not be like creating videos and telling people that they want you, and you all angry at them for no reason, angry at the wrong person. And I'm sitting here wondering, I haven't seen any person creating videos calling out the Hispanic community, the ones that are there legally, because there is quite a huge number of the Hispanic people that are there legally, living there legally, and even voted for this new administration. I haven't seen anyone creating videos calling out the Caucasian people, the Caucasian men, the Caucasian women of what's happening in the United States of America. As a matter of fact, I've seen videos where Caucasian people are creating videos and telling the Hispanic community, we all warned you about what's gonna happen and everything that is happening. But I haven't seen any people or people going on that comment section and attacking these people. Why? Because they're not Black. And you feel like Black people are the only people that should be putting their bodies on the line in support of people that do not even support them. It's so sad. Like, every person that is not a Black American or an European American and not Caucasian is only able to be in the United States of America, to live there, to work there, study there, and get married there, or anything that you're doing there, because of the civil rights fight that Black people did fight for each and every other person to be treated equally. And these are some of the things that I was checking, and I want to make so many people understand why Black Americans are no longer putting their bodies in the line, why Black Americans have refused to be used as scapegoats again in the United States of America. So many times you see Black Americans always out there in support of people, but this is not reciprocated as it should be. So when we talk about all the civil rights that all of you are enjoying in the United States of America, even those people that are having a chance, even when they're immigrants, having a chance to go through court process before they are detained or deported, it's because of the fight that was put by the Black Americans. So you see, immigrants in the United States of America benefit from the civil rights movement led primarily by Black Americans. Looking at Civil Rights Act of 1964, this landmark legislation, driven by Black civil rights struggle, outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Immigrants fall under national origin, gaining legal protection against discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodation. And this is why you see even most of you are able to move in the United States of America, and in 5 to 10 years, you are in a position to own a house, you are in position to get a nice or good employment and not discriminated against. It's because of the civil rights movement led by the Black Americans. Number 2, Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. The civil rights movement helps create the political and moral climate that led to ending the racist quota system that favored Europeans. This act opened the door for non-European immigration from Asia, Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean to be able to immigrate or move to the United States of America. It's same again because of the civil rights movement by Black Americans. And most of you just sit there. When you go out there, you want to look down on Black American. You want to listen to Caucasian people, what they have to tell you about Black American. Most of you don't even want to associate themselves as Black Americans. Even those of you that are melanin or those that come from Africa, when they go there and they're like, are you Black American? No, I'm not Black, I'm African. Like, you don't want anything to do with Black American. You don't want to be associated with Black Americans. And you are only able to be there because of the fight that was put by Black Americans, the blood and the sweat that was shed by Black Americans for you to be able to be there, for you to be able to move to the States, live there, study there, own a house, work there. Regal precedents. Court victories won by Black civil rights leaders like Brown v. Board of Education laid the groundwork for broader anti-discrimination protections used by many groups, including immigrants. Like you've seen, where immigrants are going through the court process before being detained and all that, with everything that's happening, and some of them are getting lucky to even being released and go back to their normal life. It's because of the fight that was put there by Black Americans. Affirmative action and equal opportunities. These policies, originally meant to address anti-Black racism, now benefit a wide array of marginalized groups, including immigrants. And Black people are the last people to actually benefit from these. Things like enrollment in schools. You also saw what happened with DEI. Like, it was meant for Black people. It was meant for Black people to benefit from, diversity, equity, and inclusion with everything that's happening in the American society, but they were the last people to benefit from these. And people want to come out here and call Black Americans because you're facing all these that you're facing, and you want to think that whatever you're facing is because of Black Americans and not Caucasian Americans and not other people in the United States of America. You cannot call Asian Americans, you cannot call Indian Americans, you cannot call your own Hispanic people that are there living legally, but you want to call out Black Americans because whatever you're going through is their fault. I don't know how this works, but definitely you need to sit back and think twice about this. You need to sit down and look back where you went wrong. You need to take steps back and realize that whatever fight you're facing has nothing to do with Black Americans. Thank you so much for watching up to this part. I'd really love to know what your thoughts are in the comments section. And until the next episode, make sure to subscribe to this channel, give this video a like, and share with your friends and loved one. See you on the next one.